only the $8,000 today. You're not going to retire with a $500,000 or $1 million or $2 million or $5 million or $10 million. You're going to retire a deca millionaire with over $11 million. Now you're going to say, Jaspreet, that sounds pretty good. Sign me up. I got $8,000. Well, here's the reality. You're probably not going to get those returns. Do you want to know who is? Amex, Visa, Discover, MasterCard, and you're the one that's paying that. Because the average American household with credit card debt has $8,000.
Wow.
The average APR on credit card debt is 20%. So if you, instead of making them rich, took that money and you could get those same returns, you would be incredibly wealthy. But that's why they're flying high in private jets with those big buildings. It's because you're working hard to make them rich. So when it comes to that getting money, you got to first lay that foundation, get out of the financial danger zone, and then create a system for your money. I like to teach 75, 15, 10, which is for every dollar that you earn from here on out, 75 cents is the maximum that you can spend. 15 cents is the minimum that you invest. 10 cents is the minimum that you save. This way, now every time you get paid, you're always putting money aside to save and invest before you spend all of your money, because what wealthy people do, we talked about, is their money is making them money. How do they do that? It's because they own the assets. How do they get that? Because they take their money and they don't spend all of it. They always have money to save and invest before they spend all of it. So create 3 bank accounts. Don't do this all of one for your spending money, one for investment money, one for your savings money.
Yeah, 75, 15, 10, 75% of every dollar, the maximum you can spend is 75%, is what I'm hearing you say.
Yep.
The minimum is 15% to invest, and the minimum is 10% to save. And imagine if you could do the minimum to invest would be 40% of every dollar. That'd be incredible. If you're able to invest more than just 15%. You may not be able to with expenses, but imagine if you bump that number up every month. It'd be powerful.
And that's now goes into the mindset of how do you build your wealth? Because the first, I'm going to take a step back here, because anytime we talk about money, a common feeling that I think a lot of people feel is, I don't know, Jaspreet, I don't feel right about talking about money, and I don't feel right saying I want to be wealthy.
Why do people fear the idea of wanting to be rich, or looking at people who have money as bad and wrong, or judging them as negative?
Well, I think there's a few reasons why. I'm going to start with our own money traumas. If you grow up and your parents tell you, we can't afford this, we don't have money for this, that's too much money, that's only rich people stuff. Now, all of a sudden, you grow up believing that I don't have the ability to have these things, and the people that do are rich people. Now, maybe you grew up hearing that rich people are great and they have the money to do that, but most people don't. There's a lot of vilification around this idea of, oh, they must have done something bad, slimy, sleazy, or not nice to achieve that money. Let's reframe this. What if you grew up being told, we can't afford it yet. We don't have the money yet. It's too much money today, but if we do this, this, and this, we will be able to comfortably afford this. Now we start to reframe how we think. And the problem is, a lot of times we grow up with these traumas that money is bad, evil, and then we comfort ourselves by saying the people that are affording it are bad.
In some cases, that is true. There are some bad people that actually gain money with it, but even they have principles too. You know what's even crazier is that even Elon has principles. Yeah, he's a bit of a mixed up guy for sure, but let's be very, very fair. It wasn't easy for him either. But the fact that people have money trauma and have trauma from like narcissistic people, I mean, that's not to say that everyone is like that. Is that we've been hearing these myths of being like, hey, if you go to college, you'll get a good job. If you do this and that, you'll start a family and have a 401k, retire at 65. Those myths are done. they no longer exist in this economy today. Yeah, it would be nice to retire at 65 with everything taken care of. That would be nice, but unfortunately, that is not today's reality anymore. Maybe back then, that would have worked. Probably like a decade or 2 decades ago. But today, no, it doesn't work anymore. Job security is absolutely a joke right now in a lot of cases. Although in certain industries it may be different to a degree, but we gotta wonder what else has no job security? I mean that's a very good question. I mean benefits are not guaranteed, unfortunately. Now, that's not to say that you can't get them. It's just it's now turned into a battlefield, unfortunately, and expenses are crazy. However, I really do think that it's because this contract just doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't work. It's like marriage, but fragile. I mean, when you think about it, we just have too many stupid people in power and too many that are corporate that just don't even care and they just decided to just gain as much power as possible and go through sex scandals similar to what happened to JB Morgan, by the way. I don't know if anybody has heard about it, but JB Morgan had a scandal where this woman from Albania decided, I mean, allegedly had sex with this Indian dude who was extremely ugly. And there's like forced coercion of being like, if you don't have sex with me, you don't get the money. So, yeah, that lawsuit is freaking crazy. And I'll tell you what, there's just there's too many dumb people in corporations.
Do you ever fear missing out on your great legendary summer? Good news for you is that Nomadic Path will make your summer 100 billion times better and more legendary. With Retro Focus 85, you will save 20% of your entire order plus free shipping, and you get to enjoy your summer that you've been looking for a long time. Click the link in the description. I will see you on the website and enjoy your summer shopping.
And it ain't just this money mistake that keeps 90% of Americans poor. It's just going to keep everybody below them. And it's true. I mean, the money mistake could include credit card debt, insufficient education system. Let's be fair, from elementary to college, maybe even master's college or master's degree. We just have an insufficient society. Insufficient. And then we got both parties that just don't even give a damn about any Americans but themselves and their donors that have rich pockets. And then we have a generational warfare on all fronts. And it's absolutely terrible, unfortunately. But that's another reason why this money mistake is that large. And then we got political biases, crumbling society. I mean, those things are absolutely necessary to talk about. And then there are some people that look very suspicious, but yet they're famous on TikTok or YouTube. I mean, we just talked about it in the last one already. And I think at that time my brain was a little bit foggy, but right now it is as high maintenance as it ever is because now I have breakfast and sparkling ice, which by the way is really, really good, and got it for like less than $3. And that was the best decision I've ever made. I mean, having financial principles are absolutely necessary in today's society, regardless of the conditions of the economy.
Because now we have these insecurities around money because why can somebody like me who works hard, got a good degree, checked all the boxes, how come I can't do it? But they can. This guy without a college degree has a lot of money. I am somebody who got a degree, good credibility, I got a good job. Why am I struggling with money? I hear this.
Well, that's because of student loans, debt, and people just decide to just screw around, fuck around, and find out. That's why you're struggling.
A lot, because I hear, Jaspreet, my wife
At least in most cases, that's really what it is.
and I are doctors. We make $500,000 a year. We have zero assets. What is going on? And then I start looking at their numbers and I see, okay, you got a Benz, you got a Range Rover. You guys are traveling on these nice vacations, first class, multiple times a year. You're staying at the nice hotels. You're always buying the organic blueberries. And it's, it's like there's a lot of different things. And you realize, oh, it's not just how much money you make, it's what you do with that money.
There we go. That's the point that we just made earlier.
And now when you start to just create that tension, you start to realize, oh my God, I can't ever have these nice things. Money is bad, it's evil. Well, now let's reframe that and understand how money plays a part in your life. Because the reality is it costs money to eat and it costs money to feed other people. Money is a part of life. You want to pay your bills? You got to have money. If you don't believe me, call every bank and say, hey, I don't got money. Can I give you a hug this month? They're not going to like that very much.
No, they're not.
But once you understand that money is a part of life, you can then realize it's not the only part of life. Because, and you and I have talked about this before, that if you really want to live a happy and fulfilled life, you need to be physically fit. You need to be mentally fit. You need to be spiritually fit, but also financially fit. Because if you are not financially fit, if you're always stressing about money, what happens next? Well, now your relationship suffers. Because you and your wife are now going to be arguing because you're stressed about bills, because you want to go on a vacation, you want to buy your wife that nice purse, or you want to buy your husband the nice watch, but you don't have the money. You want to buy college for your kids. It's stressful. Money problems are one of the leading causes of divorce and also suicide. It's a real thing. But yet we're scared to talk about the topic of money. And when you realize that, hey, I need to be physically healthy, I need to be mentally healthy, I need to be spiritually healthy, and I need to be financially healthy, and there are 4 independent parts of my life, now you can understand, okay, it's not bad for me to want to learn money. It's in fact important, because we live in a society that uses money, but if I have more money, I can also do more good. I can also help other people. I can also feed other hungry people. And when you have that sort of idea, now you don't have to go in and think, oh my God, yeah, maybe it's not a bad thing to be rich. Maybe it's just freedom. And maybe if I become rich, I can be an example of what it means to be a good person who's rich. That's why I always say we need more good people with money. And that means you have to rewire the way you look at money.
Yes. Because most people look at money in a way that does not serve them. They look at it where they causes stress, anxiety, fear, uncertainty.
If you don't have money, you're at the mercy of people that have money. You become desperate because now I have to go to work. I have to do these things. And desperate people don't make good financial decisions. And it's really unfortunate. But now when you're desperate, what happens? Well, the first thing is if I'm just in a really crappy place, maybe I start to soothe myself by buying a nice car that I can't afford, buying a nice watch that I can't afford, buying some nice clothes that I can't afford, or indulging in drugs or alcohol or other things like that. Lottery tickets. Yeah. Maybe now I try to soothe myself doing other things. Maybe now I say I want to get rich. And this guy on the internet says if I pay him $995, he's going to give me a 6-step system to making 6 figures in 6 months, working only 2 hours a week. That sounds great. Or maybe if I just throw my money into this cryptocurrency, into this hot stock that everyone's talking about, I'm going to be able to double my money in 12 months. And now we get caught up in this idea of fast money because I'm desperate. I'm in pain. Well, unfortunately, that's not how building wealth works. And when that's what you want, you get caught up in all the crap out there. And there's no shortage of people selling that crap because it is very attractive to sell you this idea of get rich fast. And
like I said before, life is very complex, but what he says over there is completely correct. However, you could double your wealth with certain crypto and stocks if done correctly, but there comes a price and consequences in those things, but you gotta like read the room and actually do your due diligence. Yes, there are gonna be people ripping off. I mean, that's true. But having a person help you out with a 6-figure step-by-step in 6 months sounds great too on paper, but at the same time, you gotta do your due diligence, no matter how good it looks. Even if there is an upcoming job offer going on, you have.
If you enjoy videos like this, and you're actually interested in videos like this one that just happened recently, do me a favor, like and share and comment down below and subscribe to this channel right here and right now. With that in mind, I'll see you in the next video, Innovator.